Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Mike Lewantowicz.
Hey, Alliance family. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm in Louisville today. I'm here at my office, but we've been on the road to get refueled. I'm in here for a day, and then Noelle and I are hitting the road again. And there's a bunch of leaders out there that are out traveling, serving, engaging with you or people on your team. Please take advantage of it. Just as I'm sitting here thinking, it's like been texting Stephen Davies and Holly. They're hosting a boot camp tomorrow with a number of people coming in over in Asheville, North Carolina. So you're like, I got somebody near Asheville. They're over in Charlotte. Or, hey, great, get them out there. It's going to be a great learning environment with an intense day from start to finish, having some camaraderie and some meals there. I would fight to get someone there. I know we've got people on my team that are going to be there. Then Noelle and I, we're going to be in Columbia, South Carolina on Monday. We're going to be in Charlotte on Tuesday, and then we're making an appearance at the intense training at the corporate campus on Wednesday. And this is where I'm going to be. Noelle's going to be in Baltimore with Adam Katz and some other winners on Saturday the 22nd. So just the next 7-8 days, there's a lot going in just in our world, but for you to take advantage of, and I'm not looking at the whole list of everything, go to theallianceevents.com, click on hotspots, and be like, hey, what else do I need to take advantage of? I keep that page up on my screen. I'm not going to pull it up now because I'm talking to y'all, but I'm just like, have it and take a look at it and know, and don't miss out. Don't miss out. So much out there to help you grow and learn yourself or help someone on your team grow and learn. We've got a new agent. I'm going to give her a shout out. She might not even know I'm about to. Nikki Holloway, that Brian Beasley's been working with. Found her, I think, 2 or 3 in depth from somebody. And she's been to 2 boot camps, had her first dial day on Tuesday. I think she booked 12 or 13 appointments on older follow-up leads, and she's already written like 3 or 4 or 5 applications. And so, but guess what? If it weren't for the hotspot system that she was able to tap into, would she be as prepared and effective? Maybe she would. But guess what? That's been part of her belief in growth. So, hey, I'm so grateful for people that are putting those on that we can leverage in other cities. Please, please, please take advantage of it for yourself. So I'm back here today. Just got back in late yesterday from hanging out at the cabin. Some of you, maybe you watched the TWC on Wednesday and you saw some of the guys that were out there with us. I've got a few of those guys back here with me this morning. I could have chosen more. We just got so much time to work with. It was fun hanging around with my mentor, Alex Abian, and a couple of guys on his team, Dennis Lyons, and we had James Watson. We have Justin Margison there. Hey, James Coleman had Benji Fortune there. I got to meet him as someone's coming up to speed. James Alera was there. We had Jake and Ray Joseph were there. And then I've got, 5 of the guys that were there on top of those folks that I've chosen to be here today. And as we look, there was a lot of technical information that was taught. There was, I think, some psychological information, some stories told, some stuff that, guess what, you're not going to hear from stage. You're like, really? Yeah. Why not? Because it would mess some people up. And so in the right small group, as we get to know who's there, we can start to share stuff. We can slow down and be like, yeah, hey, here's some things that are really impactful for you to know. And I'm telling you this because hopefully as you see these guys and what they learned and what they're planning to do coming out of there, my hope is that you can be like, I need to take more action now so that I can be ready next time Andy announces a cabin event. How can I get selected? How can I be part of that group or whatever it might be? It's like I never wanted to be left out. So I always, part of my and Noelle's mission was like, hey, we want to grow big. We want to be included in the group that Andy's talking to that's serious about this business. So we're like, okay, look, we're ready in case Andy does something. Hey, I want to be included in that group. I want to be above the cutoff line, not below it. So that was big for me. And then I wanted to take advantage of whatever it was that Andy was doing. How can I be there? How can I milk every bit of it out? And how can I use it coming back? And I'm going to talk about this because we've got some people that are going to be at a boot camp. So you might be thinking, well, Mike, I was in the cabin. How does it apply to me? Well, if you are going to be at a boot camp like in Asheville or in Baltimore or anywhere else, or, hey, maybe you're going to be at the intense training in Burlington on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be there. Great. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to have some highs. You're going to have some ahas. You're going to have some emotional moments. And how do you take from that and properly adjust or commit to something to take your business to the next level? So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking to these guys about. How did they get invited? What did they learn? What are they doing coming out of here? And what's the one thing they're committed to? And I'm going to talk through that a little bit with that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping you take away from this. But this is a group that I got to know better. They got to know Andy Albright better, and we're going to get chatting with them. But first up, we got Aaron Walker. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
All right. Good morning, Alliance Nation.
All right. And so, Aaron, just give people, I never want to take for granted that people know who you are, even though you might have seen you on the call the other day. But, hey, quick 30, 45 seconds. Where are you living? What were you doing before? What are some highlights in your first year with us?
Sure. My name is Aaron Walker. I'm out of Kansas, near Kansas City. I was in California last. Spent about 19 years there pursuing a Hollywood career. And I thankfully found the Alliance about 15 months ago. I was pretty much relentless when I started. I wanted to make some money, wanted to learn this business the best I could. And so I just kind of hit the ground running. With Tri-State, I was the #1 rookie producer with you guys. So I know how to sell. And now I'm just looking forward to jumping into the next portion of this business, which is just building and recruiting.
Okay, cool. All right. So you're out there. If I look back, in your first year here, so certainly, you got recognized as top rookie producer. What are the things that you were intentional about doing throughout this first year that you just said here, I'm going to make sure what did you tell yourself? I'm going to make sure I'm always doing this, or I'm really focused on this. What are a couple of things you made sure to keep in front of mind over your first 12 or 6 months?
Yeah. Well, the first 6 months was just selling, just learning the products, learning my presentation, learning the whole process with the Alliance. So it was really just sell. Even through the highs and the lows, it was just, dial the next lead, knock on the next door, go meet the next person. And even through, tough days, bad days or whatnot, I was just relentless about just never stopping and just continuing to go. And about after that 6-month mark was when I just started to take the recruiting thing a little serious. I had been hearing about it. The first 6 months was just a little standoffish about adding too many things to my plate. But I finally was like, hey, let's start this recruiting thing. So now I'm doing about a 50-50 mix of selling, but maybe not selling as much because I'm starting to focus more on the recruiting and getting my agents up to speed.
Okay. So I think that's big. I see some people that, how do I say, that they're coming in and they start to have the negative stuff in their mind, and then it causes them to stop. Like, if there's one thing I could say as I've watched you is, hey, you've chosen to be relentless despite the negative thoughts. Like, I know some people, like I was talking to an agent yesterday, and he was dialing. It was his second dial day with us, and it was like, Bo, hey, what's holding you back? He's like, well, my mind was a mess. I'm like, okay. So for it was like, so you could have been dialing this much and you dialed this much. It's like, how long did it take? Well, it's just funny because I know some people, they'll say, my mind is a mess. And then they understand they got to bear down. Or, okay, I need 5 minutes. But I think some people miss the point is the way you're going to get your mind from being a mess is put more work in. And some people back up. Ooh, that's not a good strategy. It's like you've got to lean in more when stuff starts to hit you. So I think you've done that. And you might have told somebody, my mind is a mess, but you got back to work. As there's one thing I've seen that was huge. Okay. So you're here. you got invited. I know you got invited because you've been selling at a high level and starting to recruit. How many agents do you have now that are writing business on a monthly basis? Like, how many unique writers, in addition to you, have you had in the last couple months?
I'm up to about, I'd say, four unique writers that are actually out there producing business right now.
Okay, so you got 4 unique writers. You got more stuff in the pipeline. I think you could pop up as an AM yet this month. I mean, just based on what I'm seeing, we might see you first month of AM coming up. What's been something that you've had to work hard at on the recruiting side while you're selling? What's something that you really had to focus on there?
One is just finding the right people, finding the ones that have the proper mindset. Like, yeah, I want people to sell, but I also want people that can think more big picture down the future, with the building and the recruiting part of it. And the other part is just letting people kind of take their time. Not everybody's on the same time frame. When I started, I hit the ground running within the first week. But I have some other agents that have taken kind of a couple of months. I have one that's taken about a year to get going. And, something you always told me from the beginning was, just keep being nice, keep being there for everybody, because when they're across the country, you don't really get to know these people. You're not sure what's going on in their life. If they have a current job, if they have kids, if they've got their own personal things going on, maybe they're not ready to start selling or building or recruiting tomorrow, but you just keep checking in with them, keep them going, keep staying positive with them. Don't push them too much. And eventually they will come around and it will be worth it.
That's what you just said there is big, about knowing when to be nice and could be patient. And if you're here and you're starting to recruit and build, you're going to find agents that start differently than you. The way you started as an agent, maybe you were the slow grower, and now you got someone who wants to run fast. And you might be like, oh my gosh, he's moving so fast. I don't know what to do. Find somebody that has helped somebody move fast. Don't let your perception of how to start slow keep somebody from moving fast. And if you're moving fast, you find somebody that's going to be slow. Don't let your impatience blow them out. That's big. So that's a huge tip if anybody's out here thinking, hey, how's this going to work? I think, well, you're going to meet different people that start differently, and we have to find them and help them move at their pace. And sometimes people need a little bit of a push or encouragement, and sometimes people don't. We have to figure out what's going on. And hey, that's part of the game. Okay, well, talk about your experience. What's something that, I don't know what you expected coming in, but what was something that hit you that either surprised you or extremely helpful for you hanging out at the cabin?
Yeah, it ended up being just even more impactful than I thought it would be. A lot of these guys I've kind of known, seeing them on stage, shaking their hands at conventions and stuff like that. As far as the guys that have been around a lot longer, I've met Andy in the past, but never had really like a one-on-one conversation with him. So actually having those with him now, him knowing who I am and what my story is, and him having an idea of what I want to accomplish was nice. And then there's always getting to know, people like you and Alex a little bit better, guys I do know, but maybe they don't really know my whole story and what I'm looking for. So just getting those moments with you guys was great. But then kind of getting to know, James Coleman and James Alara a little bit better as well. But then just the guys on my team, guys that I'm doing Zooms with them. I know who they are, but I've never actually interacted with them or heard their stories. So getting to know, Chris Pechac and Chris Nelson, Andrew Bayardo, Ben Hogan, actually hearing their stories. And the other cool part too is a lot of the time when you're doing this stuff, you kind of feel like you're the only one going through some of the negative stuff. And so hearing from other guys that are pretty much at my level and hearing the stuff they're going through, the chargebacks and no-shows and stuff, it's kind of like, oh, cool. I'm not the only one that's going through that.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. It's not me. It's not just me.
Yeah.
All right. So now I can stop worrying about it and just keep moving forward.
Exactly.
Because somebody's like, I'm worried. Black. everybody gets a little taste. Look, every business got the garbage. You got a restaurant business, you got garbage. Every business has got some garbage that's got to be taken out. So just like acknowledge that. We don't. There's some chargebacks. There's somebody who's going to quit. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, okay, it's there. All right. So just from being around the cabin, like being in that environment. So you talk about people, some of the stories, and getting that understanding that, there's nothing wrong with me. I just need to keep moving. What's something that was a surprise about being at the cabin? Now, we can't get into some of the secrets. There are some things where we got Attila the Hun confidentiality on some stuff that happens in the cabin. So, what's Attila the Hun confidentiality mean? It means you're going to get killed if you break that code. Okay, but outside of that, what's a couple things one or two things that surprised you that you just like, hey, this is really fun?
I can really remember two distinct moments, and they usually happen late at night when everybody's just sitting around talking and being 100% real. There was the one night where, Andy was talking about all of his failures, and you're sitting in this beautiful cabin with someone who's super successful, and you're hearing about all of his mishaps and missteps and all the bumps in the road that he had to go through. But he was going through it with a team of other people that were thinking the same thing, going through that same mess. And I was looking around at these guys that I was there with, and I was like, man, like that's going to be us in 20 or 25 years. We're just starting out. We're going to have a lot of missteps and mistakes and stuff, but we're just going to keep on pushing, and we're going to do this, together. So that was really cool. And then the last night we were there, we just kind of had an open discussion, all of us, and we were just all very vulnerable about what we got out of that week together and kind of what our plans were, and just kind of that raw thing that you were talking about, the stuff that people aren't going to be saying up on stage, and just people really kind of opening up their true feelings and their true hearts, and just kind of helping each other out, and just knowing that I'm not alone in this. I got some other brothers in the game that we're gonna push through and just keep on doing this together.
Okay. What's one thing that you like, okay, here's the one thing I'm changing starting today, or the one thing I know I need to take action on so I can take this energy, belief, and that I'm running with right now?
Yeah, well, it's just getting back into that positive state of mind. When you have a chat with the president of the company and he's telling you like, hey, I want to really help you build something massive. It's like, oh, like this is real. And now I'm going to come back to my agents that I believe in and the ones I know that are going to help me do this together, and just kind of putting that confidence into them. Like, hey, this is real, and I'm going to step up my game, and I want you to step up your game, because we can do really big things here. Let's start dreaming big.
Okay, so I'm going to help. So that sounds good, and I like it. And I'm going to help you make it concrete. So what's the what and the how behind that? So what's one, let's get really specific, because this is where I think some people can be at an event, and I know we've got the whole world here talking, but I'm going to help you, and we might need to do some more offline, but I want you to take that, and if not, if you want to share one or two more, another minute here on that, I want you to take that, and let's get more specific about, okay, how are we going to do that? And if you're not sure, you say, well, I don't know how.
Yeah. Well, the one things that I'm going to start, at least as far as changing, is looking at this like I need to keep on investing. I can't just keep doing the selling and the recruiting. Like, what else can I do? Getting an assistant, looking at office spaces, like starting to actually think of this as a real business, like everyone else above me has started to do. I think I've been a little standoffish about it. Like, hey, can I really do this? Can I afford an assistant? Can I afford an office? But then hearing, from you and the other guys, it's like, yeah, just do it. Don't be scared to invest. You don't win by, I forget what the exact saying is, you don't get rich by saving money. You get, richer by investing that money and actually building.
Okay. So I heard you say getting a staff person. That's a big thing. I'll give you more time to spend with the agents. Okay, so that's big. So I'd be like, okay, so when are you going to have your first staff person hired?
can't give you a date.
Yeah, you can't, because a goal without a date is just a wish.
Yeah, I've been dragging my feet on this for probably about a month
so that's
now.
why we're going to get you. Come on, the whole world is hearing this. Okay, it's no pressure. It's only the whole world on YouTube that's watching right now. This is getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is.
All right. If you don't want to give it now, you text me before this call's over.
Okay, fair enough.
You owe me a date. But
Okay.
if they feel, oh, this is going to get real. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, the guys are like, oh, I don't want to go now. After what you did to Aaron. Okay. All right, Aaron. Well, let's pick on that one thing and let's get committed to it. And what do we got to do next? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to put the date. Oh, I just get a date. Now, what do I do next? Okay. And sometimes you put the date down and you're going to feel both stress and relief. Stress because I committed to something, but relief because, okay, I said it. Now, what's the next thing I've got to do to make it happen by that date?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. All right, buddy. Cool. All right. We're going to bring up another guy. Chris Pechac. Gotta love a name like Pechac. How are we doing, boss?
Good morning. Good morning. How we doing?
I'm good. I'm good. All right. What are a couple things that the Alliance Nation needs to know about you and what you were doing before?
Well, so I am Chris Pechac. I'm out of Buckeye, Arizona. So I raised chickens for about 20 years for a farm locally out here, and honestly, that's what I thought I'd be doing my whole life. I ended up needing to figure out ways to kind of generate some extra income, so I started working part-time, kind of just helping families and supplementing income. And then I want to say about May last year, I think I went full-time. I was just making, I was doing better for myself, helping families in my off time than I was kind of doing my normal 9 to 5. Well, I guess 3 to 3, but it was and it's just been an awesome experience ever since.
Hey, real quick, some people may not know what kind of helped you go from full time. Like, how would you describe your part-time effort with us? Was it a steady part-time or more like a hobby time?
More like hobby time. Like it was like, a couple weekends a month, I would go out, I'd book some, just whatever I needed for income. I would kind of, that week, one weekend, I would dial on my Saturday and run appointments on my Sunday. And from there, it just, I just noticed that I was able to go make as much money that I did in a week in that one day, and I was like, And so I kind of got a little bit of a push from my wife. I got a little bit of push from James. It was like, hey, let's see what you can do in a week, and so I took a week of PTO, went out and just ran business, followed the system, dialed on Monday, ran on Tuesday, Wednesday, dialed on Thursday, ran on Friday, Saturday, and ended up writing about 17,000 in AP, and put as much in my bank account in that 1 week as I did the full month of working on the farm. So I put my 2 weeks in that following Monday, and I haven't looked back.
Okay. I think, hey, look, because you proved that you could do it a little bit in I call the hobby time, but then you just said, here, I'm going to throw down 9 days. Because remember, you took it like basically like a Saturday through a week, the following Sunday. So it was like 9 days there, and threw down to pull that off. And you're like, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
So if somebody is here and you're like, I'm full-time doing something else on a part-time, what I need to prove to myself, well, that's a great way to get out and do that. So if somebody else is like, ooh, there's a strategy. I took a week of PTO and went out and made this run. Okay. So you got rolling, doing basics of final expense and other products, face-to-face leads. When did you qualify for the trip body? Because I know you qualified to join us in Cabo.
Well, I say like November, or right at December, somewhere in there.
So May to November. So if somebody's wondering, can I qualify for a trip in 6 months? Yes. So if you're just starting with the Alliance now, you say, well, it's March 14th. And how can I qualify for a time? Well, Chris did it. All these bonus points, other things. Yes, you can qualify. So don't worry, you just get to work would be my tip. So that's big. Okay. Then somewhere along the way you started recruiting and building. Talk about, what caused you to want to say, here, I'm all in, not just on selling, but I'm going to build a business. What kind of got got you to see that and run harder in that space?
Family reunion. I went to family reunion. I got a friend. I mean, I was dabbling in the building and recruiting pretty much as soon as I went full time. I realized this was going to be a business that I needed to grow, but I was kind of, just dripping on warm market, recruiting in the home, doing everything I could, with no investment. But once I went to family reunion and I saw, just being around a group of guys and gals and just a group of people that essentially all want the same thing, and then being able to learn from the people that have paved the way for us and kind of show us exactly how to get where we want to be. It really opened my eyes to how I could make this happen.
Okay. So being at that event, so if somebody's here is listening, you're thinking, oh, okay, so James, now when James said, hey, you need to be at the family reunion event last year, did you just say, okay, yep, I'm in? Or did James have to kind of, Buck, you need to be there? How did you respond to that? Were you like fighting him, or were you like, no, I know I need to be there?
No. I've never, I didn't think it was like, I had that mentality of like, oh, I can learn from you, James. I can learn from these calls. I don't need to get around a bunch of people and I, like, in my head, I didn't see the benefit. Right. So it took a lot of work on his part to kind of get me to make that commitment and go. But, man, I'm so glad he pushed. Because it's changed my whole business and changed my family time, like everything, changed my outlook and everything I can do.
Chris, would you say that like some people are like kind of on the range of like stubborn, strong-willed, determined, not influenced easily by others, kind of got their own game plan? Or, well, I kind of like, I'll go along with anything. Like, where are you on that spectrum?
Probably the stubborn one that kind of,
All right. Now, guess what? Some people will hire an agent like Chris and think, this guy is so stubborn, I can't get him to do anything I say. And guess what? It's the stubborn, focused people that become our best people. I love it when somebody's hard-headed, stubborn, and a pain in the ass to work with. So why is that? Because I'm kind of the same way. Andy Albright's the same way. Yeah. It's kind of one of them things, but now you got to learn, how do you work with them? And so James somehow learned how to work with you and influence you in a way that was still nice. He obviously didn't piss you off and make you run away, right? So I think, good job by James realizing that. And I think that's somebody, if you're here as a leader and you go, man, I got this guy, he's doing good things, he's stubborn, how do I work with him? Well, you got to stroke his ego, you got to be nice, you got to be stern. So it's a little bit of everything, and we can't get into all that today, but just understand, if you've got someone like that, don't be mad at them. Don't be afraid of them. Be fired up. This guy could be good. Let me get him someone else to talk to. Maybe that'll help. So a good job on that. All right. So because you were there, that changed, and then you started recruiting. So the reason you got invited is because James said, this guy, he's selling at a high level. He's recruiting. He's strong-minded. He's the kind of guy we want at the cabin. So that's why you got invited. What's something you took away from hanging out with these guys the last 3 days, 3.5 days we was out there?
Well, just the impact it has, just being around so many successful people, because everyone at that cabin is having the success that either at one point I wanted and I'm having now, or where I really want to be. And so just being able to get around a small group of people that are all like-minded and all have the same aspirations, and then being able to be with people that, like, seeing, the relationships that you and Andy and Alex have built over the years. And then seeing that you guys are all still aspiring and you still have that same level of aspiration, and even at what you're doing and where you've been and how far you've come, you're still pushing just as hard as I am to get to that next level, wherever that might be. And having that as our guidepost, and then being surrounded by people that are all doing the exact same thing was just awesome. I mean, the conversations, you can't even explain it.
Is there a specific thing that you picked up that surprised you, whether it was in the cabin itself or something we did, or just any little thing? So someone's like, ooh, that would be kind of cool. What's something else that just from the environment, the setting, something we did, ate, whatever else that jumped out at you?
You know, I think the way that Andy has it set up, you know, the cabin is amazing, right? And the experience, but the way you see how he has it all, like he has a system of what we're doing and why. And then when he explains exactly how you know, we wake up and we do this, and we have a chance to just leisure and read, and then we're going to eat breakfast, and then we're going to go do some kind of activity together to kind of, and then it goes boom right into heavy training, and you're just fired up and prepared for that, and just to then hear his process of how he builds you up to get you ready for training and why he's doing it the way he is. You know, it just I have a new just his way is phenomenal, and so I was taken aback by the approach in the level of meticulousness in the process.
Yeah. Hey, it's fun when you got to do there and do something kind of with a high, you know, dopamine, testosterone kind of exercise, like we got to do with the quail and other things out there. Hey, that's a big deal. And you kind of come back and, hey, you kind of bonded with guys around that activity. Now it's like, hey, we're ready to jump in and learn something and get trained. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. What's something that you've taken away that you're like, okay, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm going to act on moving forward. Here's one thing, or maybe it's two things that I'm like, I got a plan, and here's what we're doing starting now.
So my biggest thing was identifying, you know, when we talked about, you know, dollars per hour essentially, and you know, what we're doing to, you know, what are we doing and where are we investing our time and energy that's not being fruitful or not generating us the most time, and how do we help reduce that? And so I mean, I have 3 interviews set up today with some outsourcing groups to try and find a quality VA, because I know I spend a lot of time working on things that don't generate me any income, or they slow me down, right? So I want to automate as much of the process I can to get me in front of other clients, or get me in front of people that are ready to you know, take their careers to the next step.
Okay. So, and I don't know how personal you want to get, but this could be helpful for someone else. What's an example of where you feel, here's something I'm doing where I'm putting in time that's like low dollar, that's keeping me from high dollar time? What's an example of something you know you need to delegate quickly?
So I spend a lot of time like dialing on resumes, looking through resumes. I spend a lot of time with agents that aren't doing anything, right? I spend a lot of time with pending business. You know, I spend there's a lot of time in there that I want to have someone that's focused solely on helping get our new agents from hey, I'm onboarded, I'm ready, I'm in training, to, hey, let's get going on the dial session, and being able to have that time with them every day and kind of get an idea and update me on where we're at, and then sorting through resumes and getting me on the phone with people that are ready to talk about, how they can move forward with something, those kind of things.
Like, biggest thing I heard you say is calling through resumes. That's definitely that's a task that, yes, you can get somebody for, whether it's a VA for $3 or $4 or $5 an hour to do for you, or whatever it is, or on the state side, 10 or 12 or $15, whatever it is. That's a huge one there. And I think that's big. I think one of the things to keep an eye out for certainly is, okay, as we're launching an agent, what kind of skill level do I need? What can I automate, or where is the relationship being built through that? That's important too. But I think, like with the first thing you said, yep, definitely. Hey, if I'm sitting here and I'm having to sort through resumes, I could have somebody that's calling and booking stuff into my calendar. The one thing that we found is helpful, like we had that block of time to do interviews on Wednesday. My staff got a note on Sunday night, I need 8 interviews in this one block of time. Mm-hmm. And even though we overbooked, we still had 7. I had stuff to hand out to people, because again, I had staff send a message. One time, everything was booked by Monday night with good confirmations and reminders, and we talked to 7 out of 8 in an hour on Wednesday afternoon. So being able to put yourself in that kind of a position can be very, very powerful. Okay. And it sounds like when. So I heard you say you're interviewing these VAs starting when?
I have three outsourcing calls today, and then I have a couple of dialers going right now, but I think I want to try and find someone that can do a little bit more, work with, be helpful in a few other areas besides just dialing.
Okay, all right, good job. And as you continue to pay attention to your week, you sit there and look at what you spend time on during the day, you will see, gosh, I'm spending time on this silly thing here. Why am I doing this? Can I train somebody else to do this for me? Or who do I have that I can rely on if I just take a few minutes to teach them? So good stuff. All right, Chris, I'm glad that you were out there. And as you're out there growing, I'm going to challenge you to think of one more person that you can bring to the cabin next time. Who knows when that event will happen? When Andy says, hey, Chris, who do you got? We need to find out who can you bring along with you, or two. Have a backup, or maybe you get both spots filled. That's what I'd be thinking. All right, Ben Hogan. How are we doing? That's a cool hat you got.
Thank you.
That looks like a hat that could have come only from hanging out at the cabin.
Yes, exclusive. You don't get this anywhere.
There you go. All right, cool. All right, Ben, hey, give people a little bit, again, your story, kind of when you got rolling, and lead us into what you believe you were doing right to get an invite to the cabin.
So I was in the Navy 5 years, grinded that out, loved my job, thought that was going to be my 20-year plan. Unfortunately, I got a medical discharge when I broke my foot working on one of my helicopters. From there, spent the last 8 years working with Liberty Mutual. I don't know if we should say their name or not, but so I did that personal insurance, helping people with auto and home, making great money. I was making $100,000 to $130,000 a year selling. Had a great time with them, and everything was going up. We had some tragedies hit our family that hit us really, really close to home. Unfortunately, we had a very direct look at what these clients need, what these people need from us. And first, my wife jumped in. Joseph tried to recruit me about 2 years ago, and at that time, I just wasn't ready. I didn't think it was right for me, so my wife jumped in, and when she slowly started to step away, that's when I moved into this and decided, okay, I'm gonna start helping families, really helping families. Like auto and home insurance, you're not guaranteed to get into a car accident. Your house isn't going to guarantee to burn down, but we're all guaranteed that one day we're going to lose someone, or we're not going to be here. So it just really hit home when everything started to hit us. And I tell people, you buy a car, all of a sudden everybody has your car, that same color car. For us, we saw death, and all of a sudden, all of my friends and family members they're starting to tell us about who they've lost and what they've seen. And I just got a real close look at how much this could really impact other people and other families, and how I could help those families. So back in July, I jumped in part-time. At this point, I was working with Liberty Mutual. They'd done some things that were making it really hard to make that 100, 120, 130K I was used to. So I picked up a second job working at night. So when I decided to jump into this, I was still running my night gig and then doing this during the daytime. And I had a moment where I started to see a little bit of progress, and I was selling some apps, and I was doing okay. But I was cutting my day short at like 2:00 just so I could get home by 2:30, 3:00, so I could get to this second job by 3:00 to work until midnight to 1:00 to make $100. And I was just looking at the numbers like this doesn't make sense. Why am I working for 7 hours to make 100 where I could sit with a family, help them make $500, $1,000 or more? So at that point, I put in my 2-week notice, jumped ship from there, and I've been full-time since about September now.
Okay. Yeah, full-time September. And what's a typical month of premium that you're issuing right now?
Right now, we're hitting over 20,000 a month. I think 25,000 the last 3 out of 4 months.
Okay, so solid numbers.
Yes, sir.
When you talked about what hits you, I don't know how much you want to open up and share and how it kind of relates to what we do. You're able to talk a minute on that just so people understand a little bit more.
Yeah. So we had an incident in our home where unfortunately we had an accident and we ended up losing our daughter. It was a week before her second birthday. Actually, this coming Sunday is going to be the 2 years of when we lost our daughter. So Saturday, Sunday, we lost 2 years ago. We lost our daughter, which will be the 15th, 16th. The 26th is her birthday, and the 29th is her funeral burial date. So March is really hard for my family. So even when it came to being invited to this event, it was really hard for me to really think about it because, again, it was a March thing, and I look at March as kind of my weak month where I'm the weakest. But talking to my wife and talking to my upline, it was like, I need to hold myself accountable to my business, and I need to get out there. I need to do this. I need to do this for myself more than anything else. And this was, I believe, the first time I left my family to go do something for me and alone. Usually, we go to the conferences, me and my wife together. I've always had her as kind of my security blanket. So it was a really big step for me.
That's a lot. I can't imagine going through what you've gone through, but I can appreciate the strength of a person you are by what you've done to still fight to be the provider for your family, to be present, to make this big step this week, to take advantage of it. Your wife and kids are lucky to have you as a dad.
Thank you.
To set the example. And that's why you're having what you're having here, because you've got strength. It's like, God, it's like, I wish there was a way to take away the pain. I don't know how to do that, but I appreciate, and the team appreciates your example of what you're doing.
Thank you.
Since you're at the cabin, was something fun that kind of hit you, or what was something kind of made you smile or giggle or laugh a little bit out there?
Seeing llamas. Who has llamas? Oh my gosh, that was the craziest thing. Like, you drive, as soon as you drive up, you see these giant gates, and then you look to the side, and there's just goats and llamas. Like that was the wildest thing. I've grown up as a military kid, mostly military bases. I've lived here and there, but I've never been around a place where someone owned llamas and you got to just walk up to them.
Had you shot at birds before?
Never. That was fantastic. That was a good time there. If you've never done it, you got to do it. Oh my gosh.
It's like, did you watch? For me, and I don't know, did you notice the dog? Did you watch the dog working?
Working hard. Oh, that girl, she was on it, and just so smart. She'd find them, boop, alert us to let us know, and oh my gosh, she was fantastic.
You ever heard the phrase, a dog in the hunt ain't got no fleas?
I have.
I'd heard it before too. And until I saw a dog working on a hunt like that with Mona, I didn't really understand what it meant. But when you watch Mona in the hunt, running up and down the aisles of the Milo, chasing if she saw a bird out in the woods, if that dog had 100 fleas or had a crocodile on its leg, you wouldn't have known it. It wasn't worried about it. And so I think there's something there for anybody that's here that's building. You're in the hunt when you ain't got no fleas. If the dog has fleas, it don't know it's got fleas because it's focused on the hunt. Yeah. And so sometimes as we're out there in the build, it's like, hey, man, do you understand that? And it crystallized it more for me when I saw it. I'd heard it, and a little bit. Well, that's huge. What's a takeaway for you, or what's something that kind of hanging around in the group that maybe hits you, or something hit you more personally while you were there?
The biggest thing for me as a takeaway, and I don't know if it's as large for everyone else as it was for me, but it's on me. Like, I'm the coach of this team, whether it fails or flies. If I'm looking, you guys kept saying, oh my gosh, I've got these agents. They suck. Well, what are you doing to coach them? What have you done? Like that, because I've had that moment where I'm looking at some of my new recruits, like they're not doing anything. What's going on? Oh, what am I doing? How am I pushing them? Am I using the right language? We talked a lot about that there. We have to have this consistent language approach to when we're talking to our agents so it goes across the entire alliance group. And just hearing that, just sitting back on, wow, it is on me. I can't put it on them. They're under me. I'm their coach. I'm their leader. And until I can build them up to be like me, I need to push them and show them. And I need to be working it, working the system completely. And that really hit home for me. Yeah,
that's big. What's something you've decided you're going to change and implement coming out of these last few days?
Communicating more. My wife is my partner in this, so she's my partner, but I'm not big on that partner word. She's my wife, but she's also my business partner, and just trying to learn how to communicate better with her, so we can I can get exactly what I need from her accomplished. We can get what we need out of this business accomplished together, and then we can roll that down to our agents and make sure that we're getting what we need out of them, so that they can grow, they can become, as successful as we are or more. The goal is always to get them to be more successful than us. And that's kind of where I'm looking at this. So when I got in, I was straight boots on the ground. I tell people she's the brains and beauty and I'm the muscle. But at the beginning, it was just me, doing my dials on Monday and Thursday, running the streets on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Jessica was, so we're known as Ben and Jess. When you look us up on the leaderboard, that's how you find me. But she was doing a little side thing for a little while, and she decided to come in and she started doing my dialing just so I could get in and start running the streets from Monday to Friday. That gave me a little bit more time to be with the family. That gave the business a little bit more energy and a little bit more of a bump in. And then we started to see how important recruiting was. So then she started recruiting. We got an assistant in home, Jake, Mike, you guys made a very big point about how big it is to have a staff. I mean, Andy talks about it all the time, but you got to have staff. You got to buy your time back. There's only 168 hours in a week, and what can you do? How do you get to 200, 400, and, to 1,000 hours a week? So we hired ourselves our first staff member. She works in home with us. She helps us with some of our personal stuff, but she's, doing a bunch when it comes to calling carriers, pending payments, getting a hold of clients, like all the little things where I was losing appointments because I was going to go try and catch somebody that I talked to last month or something. So just doing all these little things to build the business up. We recently got us another virtual assistant. So now they're going to help us with the recruiting side as far as for dialing. So Jessica can focus on, actually recruiting them versus trying to dial all these leads. We had a conversation recently where I saw everybody else working hard up there, and the first day I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs because my main job is to get into the streets and work. And I'm like, what else do I do? So just starting to listen to everybody and what they're doing. I got with Jessica, like, okay, so we're going to have a serious conversation about what your picture is. What do you want to do in this? Because, I know I have to bring in the money to make sure that we can do all these little things until we get to a point where, we're at your guys' level. But, does she want to recruit and train? Do we need to get another dialer so that we get more appointments so she can recruit more people? And then do we need to also then think about hiring a trainer, someone that's going to come in and get them fast tracked, and when they have questions, answer those questions and make sure that they're being held accountable to where they should be in the process after a day, after a week, after a month, like where are they in the process? So that's something that we're really focused on.
Here's what I heard you say. You already started before you got back in more clearly defining your role, Jess's role, and getting more staff to help out in those roles. And you're already on it. Hey,
yes,
good job. Good job taking action, realizing, so I'm not matching up with everybody else here. Let me run a little bit harder, make some changes right now.
Yes.
And I love it. All right. Hey, bro, glad to have got to know you. Glad you're on our team. You are a warrior, and we expect big things from you.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for believing in me. Thank you for pushing me.
All right. Next. Hey, man, my man, Chris Nelson, out of Stanford/Fayetteville, North Carolina, former military guy. Chris, how are we doing?
How you doing, Mike?
Good. All right, hit us with what's going on and kind of what was your credentials for getting an invite.
So again, my name is Chris Nelson. I live outside of Fayetteville. Some call it Vietnam, North Carolina, in a small town called Rayford. I was in the military, in the Army for 20 years, retired back in 2018, did some things, helped veterans. And then I found the Alliance back in November of 2022. And it's been the best decision I've ever made for me and my family. It's been a blessing. It's been an honor. I qualified for the Alaskan trip. That was exciting. I got a chance to do that. And then, to be honest, I kind of lost my head and lost my way. So I didn't qualify for the Cabo trip. But that's okay. That's all right. Because now my head's back on straight. I'm ready to qualify for Thailand. So I'm excited.
All right. And you've been selling and you've been recruiting and building.
Yes. So I think I started maybe recruiting maybe the middle of 2024. And then I sat down and had a conversation with you about, really wanting to take this and make this a business. So I got an office back in August. I really started focusing on selling, building, and recruiting. Like, what is it that you do? I do all three. And really following the system, talking to my growing up lines, and really focusing on the system and trying to make the business grow and work.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen you not shy away from investing in your business. I know you've done that, and you've got an office, you've got staff, you invest in leads, you invest in recruiting. So there's never been a question about your ability to go out and do that, and you're getting results. And we wanted you a chance to get around and help you take that to the next level. So good stuff. What's something that, again, surprised you or you thought was pretty cool from being out of the cabin?
I was thinking about this because my wife asked me, what was it like? I talked to a couple of agents and they've asked me what it was like. And the best analogy I can give about being at the cabin, it's like when you get to go to the conference, you get to go to the Alliance theme park, where you get to see all the people and experience all the training. Going to the cabin is like having your own special 4-day pass with no one else in line, and you're just there getting to experience all the training and the environment and the fun of the alliance, just in a more intimate level. And that's the best way I can describe it.
There you go. Yeah, because like in terms of access, like
exactly
access to Andy Albright, how much one-on-one time did you get with Andy over the course of those few days?
I mean, tons. You know, to be able to sitting there having a conversation and to hear someone say, "Hey, Nelson, come here," and you turn around and it's Andy Albright calling you to have a one-on-one conversation with you to help you grow and build and help your business be more successful, is like, you almost have to pinch yourself, because you're like, he's invested in me. And I mean, he did that with everyone. And to be able to see that and to be able to get to spend time with Alex Abian. Alex is, you know, we call you all the elder statesman of the alliance. And I've had conversation with him, but to be able to sit, you know, have a conversation in the morning and have an intimate conversation with other leaders and growers like James Coleman and other leaders over there, and then to be able to talk to people on the team and get to know them more, it's invaluable. I couldn't put into words and value exactly how much it's meant to me.
He got on the phone, talked to your son?
He did, yeah. That was pretty, I mean, that was exciting for me, you know, personally, for him to take time out to do that. So
yeah,
really thankful for that.
All right. What's a takeaway that you've like, okay, here's what we're doing. Here's a, whether a big change, little change, a change to help you take it up. What's something that you're like, here's what I'm doing right now?
Well, two things. When I retired from the Army, I kind of turned into Mr. Mom, which is great and exciting. But what I realized is doing that caused my dollars per hour to lower. So having those conversations, those training, I want to make my, you know, the time I spend be more valuable. So one of the things we're going to do is we're definitely hiring someone to do the yard, and we're definitely hiring someone to come in and straighten up the house, you know, 1 or 2 days a week, so that I can have more time to sell, recruit, and build. That's one of the things I'm definitely doing. And then the second thing is getting people on my team a chance to be able to come out and experience that intimate one-on-one training experience of the Alliance. So being able to share with others on my team so that they can be prepared and they can be selected the next time to go. And that means making sure I'm pouring into them, make sure they know about the 8 steps, they're following the 8 steps, and they're reaching their goals and dreams to sell, build, and recruit too, so that they can be selected next time.
There you go. All right. And so when are you starting to look for an interview? You're both housekeeper and or a yard person.
Oh, we're doing that tomorrow. So we have 2 people that we're doing tomorrow, and then 2 people that are going to come by on Monday.
There you go. Cool. All right. I'm thinking like, so boom. And that's the biggest thing. So I'm hoping if you're listening, what I'm trying to do is, hey, everybody's there. I'm glad they got something, but what's the one thing they're doing, and how fast can we execute? When are we going to execute on that? And so if you're going to be at a boot camp, or if you're going to be at the intense training at the campus next week, or you're going to be at stage 2 success, which you should be, and when you're getting there, are you identifying your action steps in a time to get it done? It's like, if you have staff, are you sharing it with your staff? Hey, we have to get this done. How are we going to do it? Here's when you get it done by. If you've got staff, you should be able to ask them for their input on how to do it as well. So if you're, again, thinking about that, it's like, well, I don't know how, or I don't know exactly. Well, okay, put it out as a challenge and get help, whether from a spouse or staff or whatever that is. Okay, Chris, thank you. We got one more we're going to bring up here. Andrew Bayardo, dude, great spending more time with you. Watched you jump from part-time to full-time, but real quick, high level, what were you doing for work? When did you make your shift from part-time to full-time, and a little bit about what's going on with your team?
Hey, Mike. Thanks so much for having me. Good morning, Alliance family. For me, I started back in July of 2024, and I was doing part-time, working the 1 or 2 days a week. I ended up going full-time in December, and there was this basically like this one little window where I had a week where I was able to basically run my business full time. And I had never done that. I had never gotten to see what that was going to look like. So it was at the end of November. I had that week where I could run my business, and I did. I ended up writing something like 12,000 annualized premium. And it was at that moment I was like, I gotta go full time. It was costing me money to go to the hourly job. And so at that point I went full time in December, and December was my first real month to test the waters. I ended up issue paying 30,000 that month, which was just phenomenal and really, really opened up my eyes and changed a lot of things. So Ben, that's where I was at. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then you started recruiting pretty quick. Like, you got people writing business now, a little bit, but you started talking to people in your warm market around when? It relates to when your starting point. Right.
Really right off the jump. So my upline, Chris Manifold, and I did a really great job of explaining that I don't need to be an expert to bring people on. I can be a talent scout. And I know that I was just going through. I've got tons of friends, family, folks that I think are really talented and had the ability. And really, all I was doing was bringing them in front of you, bringing them in front of Chris and stuff. And y'all helped guide that. So I saw the opportunity for myself, but I wanted to share it with other people that I thought could run with this thing. So I didn't wait until I got good at it. And I'm really glad that I didn't wait, because now a lot of that's coming to fruition. We've got folks that are up to speed and are got their licenses, and it's all friends. It's a lot of it's friends and family, like people that I really like and want to work with. And that's a big thing for me.
Hey, you were living life right, built a relationship, started building a network before you knew you was going to need a network. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. What's something that you took away from the cabin? Something happened or you saw?
So there's so many things. I mean, that was just an unbelievable trip. I can't even put into words like some of those experiences, but what somebody already touched on.
Give me one visual. Try to find one visual you can.
So since somebody already talked about the gang of llamas, I'll skip past that one and the baby goats. That was a lot of fun. I had never been hunting, so I'm out here in San Antonio, Texas. So definitely been to gun ranges. Everybody in Texas has a gun. I mean, to pretty much give it to you if you order a Happy Meal at this point. But hunting live animals I had never done. So going out there, Andy's got a whole squad of people that like are training you up in real time, like helping me pick out the right shotgun. We did some skeet shooting ahead of time so I could learn how to aim the shotgun, because it's totally different from a handgun. And then we got out there and did some quail hunting. And honestly, I wasn't sure if I was going to hit anything. I was like, I don't want to embarrass myself because I'm 10 feet away from Andy. And I ended up getting quite a few of them, and that was a really rewarding experience. And it kind of just like mirrored, like we were all in it together. We were all hunting together for the same thing there. We all had a common goal, and that kind of just like tied it all together. We ended up getting a bunch of them, and we grilled them up that night, and that was the first time I had quail, and it was unbelievable.
There we go. Cool. All right. So then as you're there, you're processing things, you're learning. What's something that you're like, okay, here's a moment of clarity for me. Here's the one thing I'm doing coming out of here.
Definitely talking to Alex Abian in depth about depth. He gave me some really, really solid insight, and I really got to pick his brain about growing that depth. And there was several other people, Jake Joseph, James Coleman. There's quite a few people I was talking to about the recruiting and understanding why it's important to build depth and helping my people get folks going early on. so that they can see what it's like to have friends and family of theirs get into the business. And it really just helps make things stickier, I guess is the term I want to use, helping folks be able to experience the overrides and stuff, being able to experience helping somebody else grow within this. But Alex, so in the immediate future, I'm going to be working with my recruits starting today to help get some more folks under them. I've already got a few of my folks that are already bringing people on, which is phenomenal. But I want to help grow that and get some more so we can have some solid depth there.
All right. So do you have, you don't have to name the names, do you have like certain people, I need to get with this person today or tomorrow to have this conversation with?
Yes, I've got an old school list right here, folks that I need to be getting with.
All right, so you're going to get with those people by when?
Today. We're doing this today.
I love it. All right, like Andy says on his watch, now or right now are good times to make something happen.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm hoping everybody here if you've been listening to that, I'm hoping you've heard how did some people get to where they're at. Hopefully you see that there are other levels of training as you're doing more that we want you to participate in. And when you are participating in training, hey, how can you think and come back and slow down and come up with your next action step on what you need? And I appreciate all these 5 guys for being willing to invest in themselves because they had to put up some money to get around, right? I appreciate Andy and his staff for making it an amazing event, well thought out. And for the guys that were there that we didn't have on today, pouring their hearts and minds in, and I'm hoping they've got some action steps they're taking too. But proud of these guys, and I have, and Andy has, and the team staff, high expectations of these folks as you see them out and about. I would pick their brain when you see them at Stage to Success in April, and it's not too late for you to help get one more there and joining us at Stage to Success. So guys, let's get after it. Continue to make this month a big month, and we'll catch you guys later. Thank y'all. Bye.